In my EREN full UR gear showcase, I mentioned how the Japanese and Korean player base were begging for these new characters to be buffed because they just can't really compete with the meta. You might see me stomping with them, especially against bots. But when you face like a really good Demon King player, like someone around your level, you're gonna get crushed if you're using EREN. I think LEVI is still a very good unit pre-buff or anything, but EREN really needed some work done. And guess what? Already they're getting a buff. So we got a patch here. It was like a 10-minute patch. And they got a very minor change to them, but we'll see how significant it will be. So EREN's big change is his critical chance. So he's going from 80% base to 110, which is huge because I was mentioning, right, how if a character post Super Awakening or anything like that has 100% crit chance, that is not high. If he's not giving himself crit chance somewhere else in the passive, he is gonna be missing crits. And you know, people are like, 100%, that means guaranteed, right? No. And now post Super Awakening, post weapons, he has 134 crit chance, which is way better. Combined with his holy relic that allows him to ignore 30% crit resistance, he's looking way better. So then on top of that, they also buffed his relic. It used to only work with humans for some reason, but now it works with humans and giants, which makes way more sense because his whole passive thing is humans and giants. Now, when you look at giants, they suck. So, but they should still be included. And especially when you're looking at, potentially one day maybe a good giant coming out, it could be useful. Now, the biggest buff that these two really needed was on their ultimates. Their ultimates sucked. Sucked. You could barely win, like you can barely kill people with 6/6 ultimates, which in this day and age is just disgraceful. For collab characters, if you get a 6/6 EREN, bro, you should be the strongest ult. You should be like Rimuru. Because getting a collab character 6/6 is harder than festival units because festival units are going to return. We don't know if these characters are ever going to return, and I don't think they will. So, their multipliers got increased. You can see right here the multipliers. And for LEVI, same thing, the multipliers got increased, but his only buff is on his relic, where instead of getting 10% crit rate per debuff on enemy up to 10 times, now he gets 15 per debuff up to 7 times. And if my head math is correct, 7 times 15 is 105, right? Yes. So he's only getting 5% more crit chance, but the difference is in the convenience. It needs way less debuffs. So I'm going to be using them together here. It's going to be like a sneak preview of my video using them together, like in my actual full-length video, but where I'm going to go over more in just one team. But I still think Ban is like way too good for EREN specifically. That it may be even for LEVI. They don't want to run them without Ban. Ban plus the Zeldris in the back is just so huge for EREN. The only big issue I see with EREN still is, so now he's being lowered by a freaking back unit there. Let's see how much damage he can do here to Meliodas. So Meliodas is going to be super lowered. He's going to have his crew resistance super lowered. And then, this is going to lower him even more. Okay. I was about to say, the biggest issue with EREN is that he is a unit that is meant to counter tier. And you can see by his kit, he does more damage to enemies with buffs, right? Which maybe would have been the best for me not to remove the buff with LEVI. This is why I don't think these two characters even blend well together. LEVI removes buffs and EREN wants to attack units with buffs, But, he has the whole buff thing. He does more damage, or he makes your team do more damage against type advantage, which is why, LEVI did a lot more damage to Estarossa there. It's not actual damage. It's attack related stats, which is even better. Like if you're attacking against type advantage, right? Nice. Bro, Levi, I still think, like, Levi did not need a buff, he was already good. Levi's the one that did. Oh, no, sorry. Eren's the one that did. Yeah, look at that damage. This is because of Eren. Eren's giving him an extra 20% attack related stats for attacking, you know, with type disadvantage against you. So, the problem with that is darkness and light don't have a type disadvantage. So, against darkness and light characters, you will never proc that passive. Which is unfortunate, right? And Levi's biggest issue was not fixed. Levi's biggest issue was that he only procs his passive against enemies with buffs. Like, he has to remove a buff to proc his crew resistance lower, when there's a character called Tyr in the game that lowers your crew resistance regardless. So yeah, I think that they rushed this buff to address the huge wave of complaints they were getting from the Japanese players, and understandable. You know, these characters, like I just mentioned, especially getting a 6/6 version of these characters, is more difficult than a festival unit in the long run, because these characters are never going to come back, and there's a lot of, you know, AOT fans. Look, he's going to have a buff so do more damage to him. That's my strat here. 2 buffs, more damage. And for the characters to be mid, and don't get me wrong, like, these characters would have been phenomenal 6 months ago, or 5 months ago, or however long ago, before, like, Tyr and Demon King, right? But, like, we live in a post-Demon King world, where units need to deal with a character that is dark, that has a countdown, pretty much, because if you don't kill him before he reaches... Can Levi kill, or can Eren kill here with the extra 20%? Let's see. Probably not. Definitely not. Oh, huge! Huge, huge. I would say definitely not because of Zeldris. I was like, he's being lowered by Ban and Zeldris, probably not, but yeah, the passive of gaining extra 20% attack related stats kind of offset the lowering by Zeldris and Ban. Nice. Yeah, like, for the characters, they need to be able to deal with the most used character in the game, right? Which is Demon King. Or else their units are worthless. And I know, right, like, sometimes Levi does some very sad damage, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, this is, you know, this is what I'm talking about, attacking into Zeldris plus Ban. Look how sad that damage was. I think that these two characters have not had their main issues fixed because they wanted to push in a buff as fast as possible, right? They were like, bro, people are complaining, we need to get this done right now, right? We need to push this buff out right now. And, you know, they didn't address that. Levi's biggest issue is that buff removal thing. Having to remove a buff kind of kills the passive of the unit. Because yes, it will work the first turn against Demon King. So that's cool, right? But that's pretty much it. After the first turn, that passive is never getting procced again. And with Eren, again, it feels like if you don't attack into a red unit with him, he's just garbage. He's supposed to only be a damage dealer. He doesn't provide much else to the team, other than the single target thing from his relic, right? So he's supposed to be a big time damage dealer. If a unit doesn't provide anything but his damage, I expect that unit to hit super hard, right? That makes sense. Right, let's attack first with Eren, so he does a little bit more damage here. Right, I think that makes sense, right? Wow. Yeah, I should have done the Levi attack first. I was thinking, I want to attack into the buffed enemy to do a little more damage, but the buff that he has is damage reduction, right? So removing the damage reduction makes total sense, right? I don't know, yeah. So yeah, like here, this is why I think Levi is actually still a good unit, like, because he works against Demon King. Like, his passive in the first turn, he's gonna remove the Demon King buffs, lower everyone's crew resistance, so it works. But then, unless you're facing Tyr, which then will only work against he in the first turn because he's the one with the taunt. Yeah. And now, you know, after this first turn, passive's not doing much, is it? Can I kill him here? $62 is not damage cap, is it? No, it's not. It is far from it. So yeah, listen, Levi was already good. So a like minor convenience buff, which is what he got, right? He got a minor convenience buff. It's just gonna make him even better, right? That's, you know, that makes sense. But EREN, I don't know, man. I'm not the biggest fan of EREN. Nice 17k. And I don't think these units are competing with Demon King still. Even Levi, which has a chance, I just don't think they truly compete with Demon King. And that's where it comes down to, right? These are PvP units. I can see an argument for Levi to be good in Hero Arena against Demon King bot teams, right? Because I think next Hero Arena is going to have a Demon King team for sure. So those buff removal things could be good. I can see EREN being good for like a whole giant team because he's healing. Like you can put him on a like Scotty, Deanne Matrona and him in Hero Arena and have like a super hero like heal thing. I think that could be good. So I'm trying to weigh in some positives for them, but I mean these buffs were very rushed. They are very minor. They're more like convenience buffs than anything, and they don't really change the core of the character. It's not like a buff like Ban. Like Ban, they completely shook Ban and made him actually good because he was dog shit. So it's okay. If you were not summoning before because you don't like how good they were, that's not gonna change your mind for sure.